Everyone has their favorite tourist spot. For many, it's the Burj Khalifa or the Leaning Tower of Pisa. But what about those that are so elusive or mysterious that most people won't even think they exist? From a town that's been on fire for over 60 years to a lake so radioactive it could kill you in under an hour, the world is home to some truly unbelievable locations. So, if you're ready to explore the impossible, buckle up, because these 15 mysterious locations will blow your mind. Number 15. The Fly Geyser. On the edge of Nevada's Black Rock Desert, an alien-looking structure spews boiling hot water onto the barren landscape. But as bizarre as it looks, the Fly Geyser isn't a natural wonder. It's an accident. It all started in the early 1900s when workers drilled a well into the desert. What they found wasn't drinkable water, but scalding 200 degrees Fahrenheit geothermal water, heated by the Earth's fiery core. Since the water was useless for irrigation, they capped the well, hoping to stop the flow. But in 1964, a second well was drilled too close to the first, and this time, hot water broke through the surface, creating small geysers. Over the decades, minerals in the water solidified, forming a colorful mound almost 6 feet tall, streaked with bright oranges, greens, and yellows, thanks to algae thriving in the extreme heat. Today, the Fly Geyser is still growing, proving that sometimes even human mistakes can create something breathtaking. Number 14. Lake Karachay. At first glance, Lake Karachay in Russia looks like a peaceful, scenic escape, but it's actually one of the most radioactive places on Earth. Used as a dumping ground for nuclear waste since the 1950s, Karachay became so toxic that standing near its shores for just 1 hour could kill you. By the 1990s, the pollution was so severe that the Soviet government had to cover the lake bed with concrete blocks to prevent radioactive particles from leaking into underground water supplies. For perspective, the Chernobyl disaster released between 50 to 185 million curies of radioactive material. Lake Karachay, it's estimated to have stored 120 million curies, meaning it was, at one point, even deadlier than Chernobyl. Though efforts have been made to contain the contamination, radiation levels are still dangerously high. If there's ever a place on Earth where a single step could shorten your lifespan, this lake is it. Number 13. The Centralia Mine. Centralia, Pennsylvania was once a thriving town thanks to its booming coal mining industry. But the very resource that built it also led to its destruction. Today, Centralia is a ghost town, and beneath its abandoned streets, an unstoppable fire has been burning for over 60 years. It all started back in May 1962, when local authorities decided to burn trash in a landfill. What they didn't realize? The flames ignited a coal seam beneath the town. The fire spread underground, fueling itself on vast coal deposits. By the 1980s, sinkholes opened up, toxic fumes filled the air, and the ground reached blistering temperatures of 900 degrees Fahrenheit. By 1992, the government declared Centralia unsafe, buying out most residents. Yet today, a handful of people still refuse to leave, despite living above an inferno. Experts say this fire could burn for another 200 years. A real-life version of hell on Earth? Centralia might just be it. Number 12. The Hessdalen Lights. Mysterious orbs of light flickering across the Norwegian sky might sound like UFO activity, but these eerie Hessdalen lights have baffled scientists for decades. First reported in 1981, these strange glowing balls appear in different shapes, colors, and speeds, hovering or zipping across the sky for minutes at a time. Unlike airplanes or car headlights, these lights have been recorded hundreds of times, and no one can fully explain them. One theory suggests they're ion Coulomb crystals, a type of cold plasma that can emit colorful lights at extreme temperatures. But here's the unsettling part. Researchers found higher than normal radiation levels in the region, suggesting that radioactive elements beneath the ground could be fueling the phenomenon. So, are the Hessdalen lights a natural anomaly, an undiscovered energy source, or something out of this world? Until scientists find solid proof, the possibility of alien visitors remains on the table. Number 11. The Nazca Lines. Ever tried drawing something with your eyes closed? It's nearly impossible to make a straight line, let alone a 1,200-foot-long geoglyph. But for the ancient Nazca civilization of Peru, creating massive, perfectly aligned desert drawings was just another day's work. Etched into the arid plains over 2,500 years ago, the Nazca lines depict massive shapes of monkeys, hummingbirds, and other mysterious figures, only visible from the sky. But here's the mind-bending part. The Nazca people had no way to view their work from above. They couldn't fly, and they certainly didn't have drones or satellites. So, how did they do it? Some experts believe they used grids, rope, and simple tools to scale up their designs. Others suggest rituals to the gods, possibly prayers for rain in the harsh desert. And then there are those who think aliens were involved. Whatever the truth, these ancient artworks remain one of Earth's greatest unsolved mysteries. Number 10. Gobekli Tepe. For decades, archaeologists believed civilization followed a clear timeline, farming first, cities second, and then temples. But then, Gobekli Tepe shattered everything we thought we knew. Discovered near Urfa, Turkey, this 12,000-year-old site is the world's oldest known temple, predating Stonehenge by 6,000 years. But here's the kicker. It was built before agriculture even existed in the region. Somehow, hunter-gatherers, who should have been too busy foraging for food, found the time to carve massive stone pillars, some standing 20 feet tall and weighing tons. Many of these stones are intricately decorated with images of lions, vultures, and scorpions. The biggest mystery? Why was it built at all? Some believe it was a spiritual site where early humans worshipped or confronted their fears of the wild animals around them. Others think it proves civilization started much earlier than we thought. One thing's for sure, Gobekli Tepe rewrote history, and we're still figuring out what it all means. Number 9. Earth's protective bubble. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but NASA has confirmed that humans have accidentally created a cosmic shield around Earth. And no, it's not some superhero force field, it's radio waves. Specifically, very low frequency, or VLF, radio waves used in submarine communications have somehow formed a protective barrier in space. This invisible bubble deflects high-energy radiation from the Van Allen belts, keeping Earth safer from harmful cosmic particles. But before you start thanking radio towers for saving humanity, there's a catch. We don't fully understand how this works. Scientists only discovered this space bubble in the 2010s, and while it seems beneficial, some worry about its long-term effects. Could we be accidentally altering Earth's space environment? For now, this accidental force field is one of the rare human-made phenomena that actually seems to be helping us, which is a refreshing change from, well, everything else. Number 8. The Ringing Rocks. Rocks are supposed to be silent, but in Upper Black Eddy, Pennsylvania, some actually make music. Scattered across a 7-acre boulder field, these mysterious stones produce bell-like chimes when struck with a hammer. No, they're not enchanted. Scientists believe it has something to do with their unique internal stress and mineral composition. In 1965, a team of geologists broke open several of these rocks, expecting to find air pockets or metallic elements inside. Instead, nothing unusual. The rocks seemed normal, but only when they remained whole. This suggests the ringing only works when they're together, almost like a natural xylophone. While no one knows exactly why these stones produce such a unique sound, musicians and scientists alike have used them to create eerie, otherworldly music. If you ever visit, bring a hammer, because tapping these stones is the closest you'll ever get to playing an instrument made by nature itself. Number 7. The Stairway to Heaven. At first glance, the Yuanyang rice terraces in China's Yunnan province look like a giant cascading staircase leading straight into the sky. But this breathtaking landscape isn't just for show. It's been an essential part of rice farming for over 2,500 years. Carved into the mountains by the Han people, these terraces stretch as high as 6,500 feet above sea level, transforming the steep, rugged terrain into a functional and fertile agricultural system. The process is ingeniously simple. Terraces are flooded to start the rice-growing cycle, then slowly drained by letting water flow downward into lower levels as the rice matures. By the time harvest season arrives, farmers just open up the barriers, letting the water cascade down like a natural irrigation system. Aside from being an engineering masterpiece, the terraces change colors with the seasons, from mirror-like pools in winter to vibrant green fields in summer. If there's such a thing as farming magic, this is it. Number 6. Fortwinville. In the Kazakh village of Karachay, people began experiencing something strange and terrifying. Entire families would fall asleep suddenly and stay unconscious for days. Even more bizarre? Some awoke with hallucinations and memory loss, while others simply collapsed mid-conversation. This sleeping sickness started in 2012, and over the years, hundreds of cases were reported. Even cats and dogs weren't immune to the mysterious slumber. Was it a virus, poisoned water, or even some kind of gas attack? Scientists were baffled. After years of research, blood tests revealed higher than normal levels of carbon monoxide in the victims. The culprit? A long-abandoned Soviet-era uranium mine nearby, believed to be leaking gases that displaced oxygen in the air, causing people to pass out. While authorities insisted the mine was to blame, some experts remained skeptical. The fact that this only started decades after the mine was abandoned still makes Karachay's bizarre epidemic one of the strangest medical mysteries in modern history. Number 5. The Mud Volcano. Volcanoes usually spew lava, but in East Java, Indonesia, a volcano has been erupting mud, non-stop, for almost 20 years. This disaster, known as the Sidoarjo Mud Volcano, first erupted in 2006, covering entire villages in thick, sludgy mud. At its peak, it expelled 6 million cubic feet of mud per day, enough to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool 72 times in just 24 hours. More than 40,000 people were displaced, and billions of dollars in damages followed. But what caused it? Some blame PT Lapindo Brantas, an oil and gas company drilling nearby. Others believe a powerful earthquake that struck days earlier could have triggered underground pressure, setting the volcano off. Either way, scientists predict this mud-spewing monster could keep going for decades. Imagine waking up one morning only to find your house slowly sinking into an ocean of thick, bubbling mud. That's the grim reality thousands of people faced, and the reason this volcano remains one of the weirdest and most destructive on Earth. Number 4. The Blue Volcano. Volcanoes usually glow red and orange, but at Kawah Ijen in Java, Indonesia, the crater burns with electric blue flames, lighting up the night like something out of a sci-fi movie. But don't be fooled. This isn't lava. It's actually sulfur gas igniting in contact with air, creating flames that can reach up to 16 feet high. The volcano's crater is home to one of the largest sulfur deposits on Earth, and when the gases escape through cracks, they ignite at extremely high temperatures, producing a neon blue blaze. Miners in the region work through the toxic sulfuric fumes, collecting the bright yellow sulfur deposits that form when the flames cool. But the conditions are brutal. Gas clouds can reach 1,100 degrees Fahrenheit, and many miners work without proper protection. Kawa Egan's blue fire is only visible at night, making it one of the most otherworldly sights on Earth. Just don't get too close, unless you want to experience what it's like to breathe fire. Number 3. Hoover Dam defying gravity. At 726 feet tall, Hoover Dam is an engineering marvel, holding back the mighty Colorado River. But beyond its impressive size, this dam defies gravity, or at least it looks that way. If you pour water from a bottle off the dam's edge, it flies upward instead of falling down. No, there's no anti-gravity machine at work. It's all due to the strong updrafts created by the dam's funnel-like structure. As wind rushes through the canyon, it creates a powerful air current that pushes water upward, making it look like it's falling in reverse. Visitors from around the world come to test this mind-bending effect, pouring water and watching in awe as it zooms skyward. While the dam's true purpose is to generate hydroelectric power and supply water to millions, this quirky phenomenon has turned it into an unexpected tourist attraction, a place where water seems to break the laws of physics. Number 2. Glass beaches. Most beaches are covered in sand, but at Fort Bragg, California, the shoreline is made of glass, and it's not from some ancient disaster. It's the result of decades of human pollution. Back in the 1900s, people used this coastline as a dumping ground for glass bottles, appliances, and even old cars. Over time, the ocean crushed and smoothed the broken glass, turning it into colorful, rounded pebbles. Today, the beach is covered in millions of tiny, glimmering glass pieces, creating a breathtaking mosaic of colors. Russia's Ussuri Bay has a similar story. Once a Soviet-era dumping site, it's now transformed into a stunning glass-covered beach, proving that sometimes even human mistakes can lead to something beautiful. But don't go thinking this is an excuse to litter the ocean. It took decades for nature to clean up our mess, and most places aren't so lucky. Fort Bragg's glass beach is a rare example of trash turning into treasure. But let's not test the limits of Mother Nature's patience. Number 1. The door to hell. In the middle of Turkmenistan's Karakum Desert, there's a giant, fiery pit that looks like a portal to another dimension. Locals call it the door to hell, and honestly, the name fits. This 225-foot wide crater has been burning non-stop for over 50 years. According to legend, in 1971, Soviet scientists were drilling for natural gas when they accidentally collapsed a cavern filled with methane. Fearing a dangerous gas leak, they set the crater on fire, expecting it to burn out in a few weeks. Instead, the flames never stopped, and they're still going strong half a century later. Turkmenistan's government once considered extinguishing it, but so far no attempt has worked. With endless fuel reserves beneath the surface, experts believe the door to hell could keep burning for centuries. If you ever visit, just be careful. It may not actually be a portal to the underworld, but standing too close to it might still send you there. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon in the next one.